Okay, well, I'm Rose,
And I'm Brooklyn.
and we lead family groups. Two of them, anyway. One on Zoom.
And one in person.
So we're just going to talk to you about the family groups, what they mean, what we do, what we get out of it, and how beneficial it is not just to us, but to everyone who attends. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So what would you say a family group is to you?
Wow. Well, to me, a family group is a gathering of people coming together to learn more about Christ. You know, diverse people, people who have a relationship, people who don't with Christ. And it's just a warm, fuzzy gathering where people are relaxed.
Yeah, I like that, warm, fuzzy. I think that a family group is a real opportunity to engage and to do life with others. Like in Acts 2, it says that the early church met every day in the temple and that they broke bread from house to house. So in our very modern, busy world, I feel like the family group is the closest thing we can get to that reality.
Yeah, I agree. It's such an intimate setting. You know, you don't feel like you're pressured, you're relaxed, and when you're relaxed, you'll speak more.
That's true.
And your minds are open more.
And when you're in a smaller group, you'll speak more.
Yeah.
Because not as many people are going to hear what you have to say.
Exactly. Okay. Since we're talking about that, what do you get out of the gatherings for small groups?
So I really appreciate family groups because it allows me to connect with other members, like more on a personal level. And I think that, we're called to carry one another's burdens. We're called to rejoice with one another, but that's really hard to do if all you have is just 5 minutes tops with a person once a week.
Yeah. And it gives us an opportunity to get to know them better, I think. Like you said, you're talking and you're sharing, you're freely opening up. And it's not just about God, not that it's just, but you talk more about yourself, and it gives you such a relaxed feeling, you know, to be in a small group as opposed to being intimidated, by larger groups. So we get to know people better and form a relationship, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, just developing that community so that Sunday is even more of a family gathering.
Yes.
And then you have that time to actually connect outside of Sunday, too.
I agree. So we're talking a lot, but what about the importance of it? Why do you think it's so important?
I think it's crucial in today's world. I mean, if you look at it in today's world, the news, the television, movies we watch, music we listen to, everything seems to have this anti-Christ or anti-God agenda. And the Bible says that iron sharpens iron, right? So I think it's just essential for believers to be surrounded with other believers, because otherwise you'll just get swallowed up by that toxic.
Yeah. And I think also with the pandemic, people are afraid. They don't want to go into large groups, or a lot of them don't even want to come to church because, out of fear. Whereas in small groups, it's so important because it brings you closer together. You're not afraid anymore. And you get to meet people that you have never met before, because when we're using Zoom, there's no travel.
Right.
There's no travel. And I can speak to someone in Africa, so we meet people inside the church, outside the church, and you form that relationship, because they're brand new, and they open up about things that they may not open up to in larger groups.
Right.
So I think that's really important.
I agree. I think that's a good point too, with like the pandemic and in this new Zoom culture. It opens an opportunity for us to connect with people we might not have been able to connect with before. But I also think it's really important too for people that feel comfortable to come back and be in person. And that's why we opened our home for that, because we wanted to provide that opportunity for those people that are comfortable and have kind of that Zoom fatigue. Like they just can't sit in another Zoom meeting, which I work from home, so that's me. And being with people in reality is, I think, is really healthy and comforting too.
I agree. And I think, you know, for me, I've met people who really didn't know Christ. They knew of him, but they didn't have a relationship. And because they've been coming to the small groups, now they do. And it's not by me. It's not because of anything I've done. It's because that God has allowed us to come together to do that.
Yeah.
Even speaking to people who had different beliefs, and they said, well, I never knew that, or I wasn't taught that way. But now they know the truth. And that helps everybody in the group, including me, to grow.
And I'm sure that's encouraging too, but you say it's not you, but in part it's you. It's the authenticity of your walk with Christ that they're seeing in community.
I know I like you for something.
And they're seeing it played out, right? They're seeing it lived out, and they can see it in you every Sunday. So it's just, it becomes a reality, I think, for them. That's consistent reality.
Yeah, I like that, consistent reality. What do you think you've taken away mostly from family groups?
I would say being a leader, being accountable to those that I'm leading, accountable to those I'm leading under, and being more accountable, I think, to myself because I am leading, but also just encouragement, you know, from seeing other people grow. And we just have a lot of fun. So it's just nice to be with community and have fun. You know, John and I always want people to feel at home at our house. And I think a lot of times people come to church wearing a mask. And, you know, 3 years ago I could say that and it meant something totally different. But that emotional mask that people wear where they just come to church and everything's fine. In a family group setting, I think people get to take that mask off and you get to see someone for who they really are and what they're really struggling with and how you can really help them.
Yeah, I agree. And I know I've taken away growth, you know, not just for me, but I've seen growth in the people who's been attending, and it's been great. You know, you want to dig deeper because we're learning new things, you know, we're becoming counselors, you know, and teachers and leaders, but only to glorify God.
Right.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I love small groups. I love family groups. So
yeah,
I'm glad we're doing it.
Me too.
Yeah, great.
And we want you to join us.
Yes.
So if you're not a part of a family group, we strongly encourage you to check one out.
Online, on Zoom, or in person. Great. Good talk.